Hi friends, this is Yoga Light, and today we are looking at past lives. In this episode, part 4, we will look at the aims of yoga and the past life experience. When we look at the aim of yoga, there are many ways of describing it. There are many paths, some of which appear to be incomplete or contradictory to others. Our aim here is only to look at the ways of relating to the experience of past lives with the greater aims of yoga. There are important differences between systems, but if we accept that the soul is making a gradual ascent through a progressive evolution as part of the essential truth, then we must realize that in any given life or attempt to reach the summit, something may be appropriate for that soul in that life and may not be for a different life. It is also good to realize that an experience, spiritual or occult, may take on a different meaning as one progresses, gains new insight, experiences, and changes over time. Previously, we have assumed a soul with 3 parts, an individual, a universal, and a transcendent aspect. We will simplify our aims to the 3 fates of the soul. The first is where one dissolves into the supreme, and there is no individuality. The ultimate is realized as a transcendent reality, eternal, without change, beyond any quality or set of qualities, no names or forms. There is no differentiation. The featureless is without relations or change. There is no action, no motion, a timeless, vast, infinite. This makes the experience of the phenomenal world seem unreal, as lacking in substance, a mere shadow of the wall of the true essential reality. Our sense of self is part of this unreality. One loses or dissolves the sense of self into the identity of the real. This is one way of looking at the aim of yoga, the supreme peace beyond description. Attaining this, one is inevitably free from karma and the rounds of rebirth. There is nothing to achieve. We can say that there is an impersonal divine, the featureless absolute, a supreme witness apart from nature, the manifest universe. But there is also a personal divine. In personal experiences, it is characterized by a supreme action and intelligence, creating, supporting, and being the manifest universe. It appears as both a multiplicity in time and space and a oneness of time and space. We can experience the cosmic consciousness of the One inhabiting all things, or see all things as ourselves. The vision of the Supreme acting as the world and through the world is also at the same time apart from the world, and the silent, featureless, unchanging Absolute is the backdrop for the manifestation of the power of the divine light, bliss, and power. So the 2 views, a static existence and an active one, are combined. The second fate includes the personal. There is a relationship with the divine. One still has individuality in the presence of the divine, and only such actions are taken in adoration of the divine. We enjoy the bliss and knowledge of the Supreme Source intimately with us. We seek a heavenly existence. All else is dissolved. Throwing off the chains of karma and rebirth, one is forever basking in the light, knowledge, and bliss of the divine. When we have a conscious relationship with the divine as the basis of all manifestation, there is a multiplicity of forms. Being is an expression of oneness that divides itself in appearance, but the oneness is equally behind, within, and forming all that is. This is the world of bliss and light, knowledge, and powers. We identify with the 5 heads of Brahma: omniscience, omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscient, and omniferous. All-knowing, present within all powerful, creating all and being all forms. This is the divine as the creator and possessor of all, having the infinite knowledge and power and taking the bliss of delight at the creation, but at the same time not limited by it, nor compelled, for it has complete freedom, nor is it diminished as it is the infinite creator of all energies. This is the origin, supporting our journey through lifetimes as we return to our source. We are a spark of the divine on a journey we created. This realization of the divine comes from a transcendent that does not have existence in time or space, nor does it have qualities, but has the potential of infinite qualities. It puts forth the manifestation through the power of Maya that limits the creation to a small set of all that it could be. In this way, the universal manifestation is, in each moment, unique and novel. It is not a mechanical repetition of finite energy and potential. The infinite set of possibilities is always greater than the infinite set of actualities in infinite time. The world has limits, but it is an expression of that which is without limits. The third fate of the soul is to attain the law of action of the divine. This means the divination of the being. This comes when the other two fates are realized, the impersonal and the personal, and we become a direct expression of the divine, an evolutionary force, a direct presence of the truth in all parts of our being. Instead of basking in the rays of the sun, we are also the light radiating out through all. Many may feel that these realizations are far beyond where we are at or what we feel we are capable of achieving, either in life or death. But still, our practice should have some measure of what is to be done in the ideal, in the perfection, and we must aspire and strive. So where does the experience of past lives fit in? It is easy to think about these things, but experiences show you a wider reality. That experience may or may not have much impact on us. We need to accept and integrate that wider reality into our view. Otherwise, the great momentum of the senses and conventional understanding will pull us back. The first fate emerges from being able to separate spirit from nature, so that the witness is not disturbed by nature or by anything, but attains a constant state of awareness and peace. If one aims to transcend, the world is generally viewed as a negative illusion, and experiences of all kinds are to be rejected. Anything that happens out of the ordinary must be let go of. Pay no attention. This makes sense if your only aim is to dissolve into a peaceful eternal. You only need to experience things that allow for a deep silence and stillness that supports concentration. For instance, you create a life that seeks to sit and achieve samadhi. This means cutting off from the world. This view misses the connection to the part of the soul that reincarnates and links to the real cause and is the reason for the incarnation. Through lifetimes, the soul progressively evolves through forms of nature to return to the realization of itself. The world is doing the same thing, but the defining experience is of a featureless absolute and not of the divine as and in the world. The past life memory itself would be a distraction, but that is when the recognition of what is behind it is missed. The past life memory should confirm a truer relation to ourself within and the circumstances without. One can gain a broader view of the universe as an expression of the divine. This does not come from the karmic trace, but from the knowledge of the spiritual mission. If all the experience offers is a memory, then the problem of imaginary capture and overemphasis should be avoided. But the problem of misrecognition doesn't exist if the view is that everything is a misrecognition. The only value something has is the support it gives to seeking to transcend. The world itself and any layers or heavens are also to be left behind. Rejection is the problem. However, suppose we avoid the narrow view but still seek the impersonal aspect of the divine. In that case, the broader implications of coming into and out of the material world, perhaps existing only as a subtle entity in between, can help us look at our present life and accept its impermanence. This lessens the kleshas, the afflictions of ignorance about what life and the world are, egoism. We are not our surface personality stuck in duality and the limitations of the senses. Attachment and aversion are reduced, since everything is lost or only carried along as baggage. The fear of death, since it is obvious we have lived before and are neither born nor die. The karmic trace is valuable because it is the karmic trace, not as the themes of that trace. One notion is that we have karmic seeds. These are said to reside in the chakras. These seeds are not just seeds waiting for the right conditions to grow, they also can help create the conditions for them to sprout. These likely possibilities are part of the subtle constitution formed by the action of Kundalini when we are conceived. It determines our potential just as DNA determines our body. The Kundalini energy shuts down after a certain time. Of course, some yogas seek to reawaken the energy so it can continue to grow and perfect our possibilities. That perfection is the spiritual mission. We also have the ability to shape our world by an inner formulation. Our actions and our concentration of energies in life create the conditions. This is done on a subtle level and manifests on a physical level. When we will something to manifest, consciously direct our energies towards some end, it is subject to the limitation of knowledge and energy at our command and the world conditions in which we live. At the deepest level, what we create is influenced by our spiritual aspirations. The more we seek the truth of our being, come into contact with it, and identify with it, the more we create an evolutionary path. We are on the soul's mission. The past life memory experience can lead us to this when we are able to avoid ego identification. We can create our future seeds, not just through decisions, but through subtle influence and tapping into the greater power of being hidden by our experience of the world through the limitations of our senses. When we are in touch with the spiritual mission and see its actions, we can then surrender to that power and open into a wider world. We can cooperate with our own growth, and as we aim to evolve, the higher consciousness is in touch with the divine, and it involves within us. The second fate enters into the relationship with the world as love and devotion, and sees the import of events and knowledge of the self. One sees the divine in its perfect equality, equally possessing and supporting. It has equal love for subatomic particles as it does for Earth or the galaxies. Being all qualities, all instances of existence, every quantum particle, and all macrocosmic events, it feels the delight of being. There is both a multiplicity of forms as well as a oneness of real substance. Each aspect or feature is equally divine, yet there is a oneness that is not the sum of the parts and a collection of movements. Oneness and multiplicity are two views of the same essential truth. This is seen as a relationship with ourselves as part of the oneness. The experience of past lives deals with the individual aspect. It shows us our karmic chains, but can also show the divine spark of the individual working out its greater potential in its evolutionary path. The problems come from being trapped in our conventional notions of what we are and focusing on our conditioned ego and identity. This can be overcome by seeing the import of the experience and reflecting on what reincarnation means. If we can look past an egoistic agenda, then the other side, the spiritual mission, can emerge out of the experience. This is part of us that is already in tune with the divine will, the part that is striving for realization. The past life memory puts us in contact with our deeper truth. Apart from seeking to dissolve into a peaceful eternity, there is a possibility of bringing the divine into the world of manifestation. The tiny part of what you are that manifests and identifies with a certain body living for a time with emotions and thoughts can also be an instrument within the cosmic manifestation. Hence the need for surrender and identification with the divine. If you feel drawn to a past life regression, go for it. This involves being led into a deeply relaxed state and guided towards finding a past life memory. This probably works for the first or second time, but it can start to drift quite far. The imaginary capture of the whole process of past life regression, aided by expectations and improper motivation as ambition, can creep in. It requires great sincerity and need to stay helpful. The other problem is the subliminal of the hypnotist. Regardless of their sincerity, hypnosis involves communication between people. Also, the method will influence what is experienced. Hypnosis usually works by getting the mind to concentrate on more than one thing simultaneously. For instance, listening to the voice while trying to keep your eyelids closed. The relaxation part, emphasizing being relaxed, also colors the experience. Most people are familiar with the feeling of group meditation. The effect of the people you are with can aid you in going deeper. The hypnotist may be very good at getting you to a deep state, but there is also the effect of their expectations and their wanting to be effective. Helpful the first time, but expectations will likely influence the second time. The second time may make up for the first time's resistance if there is skepticism and doubt. Anything is possible, but the motivation for looking into past lives must be clear. Spiritual and occult experiences can be powerful and unique. Even smaller glimpses, such as with precognition, can be notable. We can be lured into trying to recreate these experiences and recapture the moment. Under the influence of desires and the ego, the mind can attempt to fake these experiences. If we know something before it happens, desires can try to pass off their demands and suggestions as intuition. We may not be focused and in good awareness all the time, and our circumstances may weaken our minds. We are sure that we are about to get rich or have a relationship with a certain person, or that life will arrange itself so we get what we want. We will be so sure one moment and then down the next when it doesn't come. But over time, observing our minds, we can see the difference between the true experience and the fake one. It may take a long time or we may get it quickly, but this is a problem we can learn to overcome if we actively seek past life memories regardless of our technique. Developing our ability to see clearly, recognize the quality of things, and touch the part of the being that knows can be a consequence of experimenting, leaving our comfort zone if we choose to look into our deep past and experience past lives. Or we can practice and be open to what comes. If you got something out of this video, please hit the like and subscribe. Till next time.